Hi, welcome to SunnyGirlScraps, Stampin' University with Pam Staples. That's me, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today we're going to talk about the very basics of stamping. I often hear people say, I don't have a creative bone in my body, or no, I can't do that, I don't have the talent, and that's where I come in as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator to dispel that myth. I want to show you how you can stamp and craft on a budget, as well as just a few basic supplies. You can do it. It's not that hard. On that note, totally ignore everything you see behind me. I have been stamping and crafting for over 20 years and have built up a nice little collection of stuff. So, as a new stamper, you're probably wondering, where do I get started? What do I need? That's where I come in and can help you as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So let's talk about some of the basics that you would need to get started in stamping. First item, a stamp set, pretty important. Second item, cardstock. Third item would be your ink pad. Then you would need a paper cutter and something to clean your stamp sets with. So basically 5 items that you would need. So let's go over those in further detail. And then I'm going to also tell you a little bit about sale-a-bration and how right now you could actually earn some free Stampin' Up! Products. Now let's get started talking about the stamp sets. As a new stamper, you should know that there are several options available to you. There's the rubber wood mounted, the rubber cling mount or clear mount, and then there is the photopolymer stamp sets. The wood mount, pretty self-explanable. It is a rubber stamp that is mounted directly onto a wood block. This is a great option for the new stamper, although they are a little bit more expensive, just as a heads up, because you're also purchasing the wood block with the rubber stamp. Your next option is the cling mount or clear mount rubber stamp set. And here again you have the rubber stamp, but there's a cling material, and then you need an acrylic block. The nice thing with the acrylic blocks, once you have the investment, you really don't need to purchase any more acrylic blocks, and they work great with the cling mount. And then the acrylic block also works extremely well with the photopolymer stamp set. This is the least expensive option from Stampin' Up! It does require a softer touch, but the wonderful thing is when you stamp with this, you can see all the way through and you know your placement. You can see what you're doing. This is a great option too for the beginner. So those are our stamp set options. I wanted to mention one other thing really quick about stamp sets, and that's what to look for when you're purchasing your first stamp set. I tell my new customers and the new stamper to look for a stamp set that has images as well as your sentiment. It's cost effective. You get what you need initially, and then as you start stamping and you get into stamping a little bit more, you can fill in the gaps by purchasing stamp sets that have either words or more images that you can mix and match. Now let's talk about cardstock. So much fun. Cardstock, you really want to invest in quality cardstock. It's the card. It's what you're making, and it really reflects the image and what you stamp. At Stampin' Up! We offer numerous types of cardstock, colored, neutrals. As a new stamper, I recommend that you stick to either Whisper White or Very Vanilla. Here they are. The nice thing about the Stampin' Up! Whisper White and Very Vanilla is that when you stamp on it, the ink actually sits on top of the paper, does not soak through or soak into the paper, so you get a nice, clean, clear, crisp image. And if you screw up, you can flip it over and start over. Now, we also offer colored cardstock. Again, quality, nice weight to it. I would tell you, as a new stamper, not something you need to purchase right away, but you will eventually want to purchase it as you get into stamping further and you want more colors added to your cards. Ink and the ink pad, pretty crucial to stamping. Gotta have some ink. So let's talk about Your options. There is lots of options out there on the market. You have everything from water dye-based ink to a solvent permanent ink, distressing ink, and more. I really recommend to new stampers that you keep it simple and stick to the water dye-based ink. Now let's talk about, let's talk about Stampin' Up! Classic ink. The Stampin' Up! Classic ink is a water dye-based, easy to use, easy to clean, a great starting point for the new stamper. And I recommend when you're first looking to purchase a stamp pad, purchase a neutral, such as a basic black or basic gray, and then choose your favorite color. And then from there, you can just continue to add on and build on what you already own. And sometimes you might even end up with some duplicates. No problem. You'll use them. So that's my recommendation. Stick to the basics. Stick with a water dye-based ink to start with, and then build on that as you get into stamping and crafting a little bit more. Come to the end of this video, we need to talk about one last supply item, and that is the paper cutter. There's lots of options on the market. You have everything from the cheap, inexpensive paper cutter to the very high-end paper cutter. I really recommend that you want to stay at least in the middle of the road and get a quality paper cutter. On that note, I'd like to share with you the Stampin' Trimmer. The Stampin' Trimmer is a wonderful paper cutter, great for the crafter, and especially great for the casual crafter. And for that matter, I mean, I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I love my paper trimmer. I love the fact that it has the nice guide. There's a lock, and then you have your actual paper cutter, and then you have a scoring blade that's also attached, and they stay on there together. Another wonderful feature of the paper trimmer is you can actually remove this trimmer portion and replace it with a rotary blade. Some people love rotary blades. I love the fact that there's storage in the back underneath. When looking for a paper cutter, you really want a good paper cutter that has a nice size to it. This one easily cuts 12 by 12 paper without a problem, which is something to consider as a new stamper, because eventually you'll probably want to start purchasing some designer series paper, 12 by 12 paper for using on your cards. So I'm glad you came and have stopped by and watched the video. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact information is at the end of this video. Thank you and have a great day.